Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
The regular season comes to an end for Kyle Whittingham and the Utes as they hit the road for a battle against Kansas. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Just waiting patiently over here for this riveting basketball game. I mean, if it's November, all I want on my television screen is basketball that doesn't mean anything from Hawaii. However, that's the thing that's in the way of us being able to get to the college football playoff rankings show.
I can't believe the college football
What
playoff
happened
rankings are preempted
Hold
by
on. What happened in
Maui Invitational.
Yeah, what happened in Hawaii today that the game got pushed so late? So the college football playoff ranking show was supposed to start 10 minutes ago. But hold the phone because the Maui Invitational can't be stopped. I'm like, somebody needs to call Seton Hall and USC and say, hey, listen, we're going to need you guys to wrap this up pretty darn quick. Go ahead and get yourselves no more timeouts. By the way, no one has any more timeouts left. Not allowed. Because they just took a media timeout, which, of course, JJ, in our business means 74 minutes of waiting through.
Well, ESPN's getting paid right now because they're running ads.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's making me angry, man.
They're fine with it.
So
People are going to stick around and wait.
whatever. Yeah, so we'll wait on that. There's like still 6 or 7 something left in this game, and so that means probably bottom of the hour we'll be able to talk about the rankings. But does that mean they're making Reese Davis sit around and wait? He's probably way mad.
That's not cheap.
No, you're sitting in there in the studio. Let's go. What's I mean, what on earth are they thinking right now? Now we can go back over a little bit. I did want to bring up some of the things that have happened in the world of college, or some of the things that can happen in the world of college football this weekend. I was looking at a list of scenarios of all the different playoff of the the college football play or the conference championships. This next week, it gets actually quite insane because over the next little bit, you're going to be able to see quite a few of these teams that everybody's just throwing in automatically into the college football playoff discussion. I mean, there's still so much left to be played. The question is how much of championship weekend should weigh on a team being eliminated or a team being, vaulted forward? Should you be rewarded for going to the college or to your own college, your conference championship game? The thing is that you played to get to that spot, and you actually could get dinged down the line further than a team that didn't make the conference championship game. And I'm looking at Miami here as the biggest example because ESPN and other ranking services are throwing Miami ahead of Utah or all sorts of other teams that you look at, you go, now hold on a minute. The chance that they have a higher, I'm not kidding this when I tell you this, they have a higher probability, a percent chance of making it into the college football playoff than they do to get into the ACC championship game.
That's pretty wild.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And people love Miami because of their win over Notre Dame, but they don't recognize the fact that a 2-loss Miami team, and their 2 losses, by the way, have come in the last 6 weeks.
Against teams that aren't ranked currently.
Yeah, but SMU, they could be getting into the college football playoff.
Yeah, the team that lost to Baylor and TCU.
But you see, but also have 3 losses on the year. Like SMU has 3 losses. If a 3-loss SMU team wins the ACC championship game and they get in over a 3-loss UVA team, because that's what it would look like. Because if those teams both win this weekend, which they're likely going to, it's going to be a matchup between UVA and SMU, right?
Yeah.
And if you beat UVA, they'll have 3 losses. Okay, out. But if they beat UVA, a 3-loss SMU team will be in the college football playoff. And they're just excited to make sure that you know that they need to also put Miami in this conversation, which they should not. They should not be in this conversation. And I just wonder if it's one of these things that just ends up getting decided by these invisible powers that be. But I think the reality is that it's just another indicator as to, and I think it was made, we have that clip. I want to hear that clip again, Napolis, of SVP and Stanford Steve. I think this is a perfect encapsulation of what the conversations are likely going like in the college football playoff ranking room, albeit a little less cheerleadery. But I do think that ultimately they have these conversations about who should be in and who should be out. And some of it isn't always about which team is better or which team even has the better resume. It's about who's going to be better television that they can get away with putting in there. And I think when you hear this conversation between those two about this very topic, here's what they say about Utah and Miami head-to-head on who should be where in the rankings. And Utah is ahead of Miami, but that could change tonight.
Utah's only top 25 win is against Arizona State without Sam Leavitt. That's it.
And they got obliterated by Texas Tech. Miami doesn't have a bad loss like that. I get it. They lost to Louisville by 3 and Beck threw a bunch of picks. And they lost to SMU, who, by the way, now is in overtime at their field. And now they got to get a chance to play in the playoff.
Correct.
But somehow that was a bad loss. I'm throwing up the U. I want them in just because I think they're talented.
What if that's the 5-12, Miami at Eugene?
Oh, buddy.
Why are they so excited about that game, by the way?
Why
would Miami going to Oregon be such a great game? And by the way, you want to hear more about Louisville, I think this is crazy because SVP ran past that. Like, Utah's 2 losses are to number 11 BYU and to number 5 Texas Tech. Oh, yeah, but they got obliterated by Texas Tech. It's like, by the way, everybody's getting obliterated by Texas Tech. They win by an average of 36 points a game against everyone, okay? But let's get back to the Louisville game where they go, I get it. They lost to Louisville by 3, and Carson Beck threw a bunch of picks. Well, that should be a little bit of an indicator. You want to know how well Louisville's doing? They've lost 3 in a row.
Right.
They are a 4-loss team. They've lost 4 in a row. You know when their last win was? Miami.
Right.
So you can't just roll past that. That's a bad loss. You can't say that's not a bad loss. It's a bad loss. It's a 4-4 ACC team. They are in, you ready for this? 9th place in the ACC. That's a bad loss. Okay?
And I also mentioned, he said Utah didn't beat anybody. Fair. I mean, you look at their wins, it's UCLA, Cal Poly, Wyoming. The non-conference schedule really hurts Utah. There's no doubt about that. West Virginia. The Arizona State win was nice, but as they argue, it was without Sam Leavitt. Okay.
Yeah, but it was by 32.
Arizona State
but it was
ranked then, and they're ranked now.
But it was by 30. They won by 5 touchdowns.
They won by 32 points.
Yes.
Cincinnati, 45-14. Cincinnati was ranked 17th in the country at the time.
Right.
And I get they're not ranked right now.
And by the way, Arizona State's going to be ranked today in the college football playoff ranking. I bet they'll be at the very tail end of that top 25.
Utah
but
does
that
not
won't
have
count.
the best resume.
I get it.
There's certainly holes in it, and yeah, the Texas Tech lost the way it happened.
Okay.
If you watch that game, you know it was close until the fourth quarter, and they blew it open. The BYU game was a missed opportunity. They should have won that game. They couldn't close. BYU was better in the fourth quarter. BYU was better, and they won.
Miami is in 5th place in the ACC.
Exactly.
And they're going to get a spot in the college football playoff.
No, I don't think they
won't.
will.
JJ?
I don't think – I think that this sucks because Utah's going to fall behind Miami. But unless absolute chaos happens in front,
you think ultimately
Miami's not getting in the top 10 because Miami's not going to have an opportunity to play another game to get into the top 10. It's more likely
but teams will tumble out.
Michigan would jump ahead with an Ohio State win.
Could be the case.
Who's tumbling, though? Who's tumbling?
Yeah, I mean, here's what happens this weekend. Because
that's what we can talk about right now.
Texas and Texas
who in the
A&M.
top 10 is tumbling with a loss coming up.
So
Notre Dame's not going to lose.
Right.
Alabama's not going to play in the SEC championship by most likely.
Yeah, but if they lose,
we're looking at probably Texas A&M,
but if they
Georgia.
lose to Auburn, which could happen, that could absolutely happen. I
remember Vanderbilt was Vanderbilt was not. They moved him ahead of Vanderbilt. So yeah, Miami.
Okay, so Oregon plays Washington this weekend. Okay,
right.
Oregon could take their second loss of the year. Now, will that second loss
blow up a lot of things?
But will that second loss put them further back behind Alabama, BYU? Here's the crazy thing: that would probably number 7 Oregon losing their second game. The committee would find a way to put them. Are you ready for where they'd put them? They would put them probably at number 10, and they'd move Alabama and Notre Dame, Oklahoma up behind them. Now, Oklahoma plays LSU this weekend. I've never been a bigger fan of the interim head coach, of whom I don't know his name down there at LSU, that I've ever been right now. Because beating Oklahoma, that's the only shot you have. Stop it. Miss me with the, hey, Stanford played Cal tough last week. Miss me with all that.
Happen.
And I get it. Stanford's hosting Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's the least likely to lose.
Notre Dame is going to roll. Why? Because
we've seen Stanford.
And also on top of it, Notre Dame is playing really, really good football, but it doesn't matter because it's already, the fix is in, right? There's a garbage schedule. And they've been beating everybody. They've been beating the doors off everybody. All right? So your chance to get in is Ole Miss losing to Mississippi State would actually probably tumble them further down. So you have a chance of 6, 7, and 8 who are playing relatively talented, rivalry type games.
You could picture an upset in those 3 scenarios.
Right. Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State, Oregon taking on Washington. Both of those games are on the road for both of those teams. All right. So that's a big deal. I think that's a huge deal. Oklahoma hosting LSU. That's tough. That's a tough putt for LSU. I don't know how much that team cares. Notre Dame gets a freebie against Stanford, and then Alabama could lose the Iron Bowl. Now,
rivalry games are weird, and that one is one of them.
So if Alabama loses, and then if Oregon loses, I think that you would have to put BYU to 10 and probably Oregon to 11. Now, after that, Oregon won't play in the Big Ten championship game.
No.
BYU will, and if they lose to they will, if they beat UCF this weekend, then they will go to the Big Ten or the Big 12 championship game. And if they lose that Big 12 championship game, the committee can't wait to throw them 2 spots behind, throw them a bone and say, you're 11.
Right.
Congrats. You're 11. And you know what that gets you?
Out.
You're behind the ACC entrant who's going to go in, who's going to be like 18th ranked Miami. Or not 18th ranked Miami, like 18th ranked UVA or 21st ranked SMU. Those are the likelihood. Now they'll go up further in the rankings because they won that conference championship, and the committee has to go, gosh, we got to get somebody in there who looks a little bit decent. So they'll be like right outside, right? They'll be right outside that kind of top 15 type of a spot. So it's hard not to look at this and go, what are they doing here? What are they going to do?
Well, let's assume no upsets. And that would mean Ohio State, Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, Texas A&M and Georgia in the SEC championship game, Texas Tech and BYU in the Big 12 championship game. Of those teams in the top 12, we're not going to worry about the ACC. That's
well, they won't have any teams in the top 12.
Exactly. That's my point. So, who of the top of those teams playing in a championship game, which team will get punished the most by losing their conference championship
BYU.
game? Exactly.
1,000%. Because 1 versus 2 and 3 versus 4 and then 5 versus 11, they'll look at 11 and go, boy, you guys are terrible.
Right.
You lost your conference
the top
championship
4
game.
probably won't even move, regardless of the outcome.
They'll get shifted around.
But if BYU upset Texas Tech, Texas Tech would plummet.
Somebody's got to win those games, and so it'll be like Indiana beats Ohio State goes to 3, Texas A&M beats Georgia. Texas A&M will go to 2. Indiana will go to 1. You know, they'll shift around each other depending on how those wins and losses go. But you're right; they'll probably stay right there. Now, you might get Texas Tech if they beat BYU in the Big 12 championship. They might move ahead of like a 2-loss Georgia or a 3-loss Georgia.
They should move ahead of Georgia and get that top 4 spot.
Right.
So I think that's actually a very possible scenario for the Big 12 to get a top 4, assuming Texas Tech defeats BYU, who we're assuming is going to be their opponent in the Big 12 title game.
Yeah. Listen, here are the conversations. Here's the reality. Here are the conversations that are being had by BYU inside that locker room or inside their meeting rooms. They don't have the time to think about the stupidity of the politics that you and I are debating right now, because they know that if they just win their games, they will go to the college football playoff. And frankly, I think if Texas Tech loses to BYU, I think they'd stay in too. I don't think that JJ. I can't see them losing to number 11 in the conference championship game, or number 10, or whatever they end up being in this last week. If BYU ends up being at that 10 or 9 after maybe an upset happens in that top 6.
If BYU loses to Texas Tech in that title game, is that what you're saying?
Sorry, if BYU beats Texas Tech.
Will Texas Tech plummet?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think BYU would go up to like a 7, and I think Texas Tech would go to like 9. I think they'd both be in.
Be stunned. I think they're building all of this to make sure that there's 5 SEC teams,
right?
3 Big Ten, and a potential 2 ACC, which is insane. Miami is still very much alive and very much a factor, which I can't comprehend.
Hey, this portion of the show, by the way, brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com. It's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Hey, Annapolis, should we knock out some ticket giveaways right now? It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. I don't want to have to I don't want to have the college football playoff rankings ruin people's feelings about winning some tickets on a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. So let's go ahead and do it right now. Let's give some tickets away. Jazz Kings, Friday, November 28th. Let's do it right now.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the 3. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Call in number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663, 801-575-ZONE. And the winner gets a pair of tickets to see the Jazz Kings at Delta Center on Friday, on a Black Friday. I wonder if the Jazz will be wearing those sweet inversion jerseys.
I don't have the list in front of me of the games that they wear those. There's
well,
not very
either
many.
way.
It's like a handful, like 5 or 6.
You know what you do? You go to the team store during the break, and you get yourself a couple of somethings to put under the tree there. You know what I mean? All right, so 801-575-ZONE. There you go. This freaking game, the Maui Invitational between USC and Seton Hall, is going to go down in history as my least favorite game in college basketball history.
I'm just proud of you for not throwing anything right now.
I'm this close. I'm telling you. What's funny is that ESPN getting it wrong, right? Because in the end they're
they just put this game on the deuce.
Sorry.
Can't they just throw this on ESPN News? Would anyone care?
It's very appropriate to put it on the deuce because that's what this game smells like. Gosh. All right. Take a break. We'll come back. Cross your dadgum fingers that in a minute 54 of game clock between Seton Hall and USC, if this thing goes to overtime, you're on your own, dude. Annapolis, take over if this thing goes to overtime. I might die. Okay? All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go right around the corner. Stay with us on a Tuesday edition of the program. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. It's a Black Friday showdown for the Aggies as they welcome in Boise State to Logan. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's throw it back to studio here. Alex Napolis with another traffic update. We're just trying to waste some time here on this Maui Invitational with 25 seconds left.
And, of course, they're going to call timeout.
Don't worry about it. This is going great.
The good news is Seton Hall's out of timeouts. The bad news is USC still has 2.
Yeah, listen, we're waiting for the ending of this riveting Seton Hall. Hey, Jay Billis thinks it's riveting. He's telling us right now on TV that it's riveting. It took 3 seconds off the clock, by the way, in this one. Right now, USC is up 80-78 over Seton Hall in the quarterfinals of the consolation bracket, the Maui Invitational, as we wait for ESPN to get going on the college football playoff ranking show. I'm just glad the committee had extra time to be able to polish their answers for how this thing's going to wind up, right? They're all.
You got the committee chair back
He goes, what am I
there.
supposed to do? He's like, brand new committee chair, right? He only had last week to do it. And then they go, oh, dude, this USC game, can we stretch it out somehow? Because I'm going to come up with a couple more like good one-liners to try to put Miami in front of Utah in front of
Here's
in
the funny
America.
thing is there's really only one surprise or unknown
100%.
spot.
But it matters to us.
Does Miami jump in front of Utah?
Right.
Otherwise, the top 12 will stay the same.
It's going to stay the same.
So that's the only drama in the college football playoff rankings tonight, because I don't see potential for any other movement based on the results we saw over the weekend, besides Miami jumping Utah, or potentially Vanderbilt and Miami jumping Utah, which would be extremely frustrating for Utah fans listening to this right now.
Yeah. I was going to bring this up, too, before we get to the college football playoff ranking stuff. Did you see that Colorado has totally phoned it in by saying that Julian Lewis is going to retain the red shirt and they're not going to play him this weekend?
Yep.
Where is the future of Coach Prime? What does the future of Coach Prime look like at Colorado?
I don't see.
What's the over-under on amount of years there?
I think he's done after this season.
So you'll take the under on 0.5 seasons left?
I think a couple weeks from now he will know the future, and it's not going to be in Colorado.
Well, interestingly enough, it's going to end up being one of those deals that I think it'll be terrible for Colorado, because they even said they're like, oh, we're not pushing him on anything. We're going to let him do what he wants, and we'll sign him up
And
for
he's
as long
earned
as he
that.
wants. Yeah,
He's earned that.
100%.
I think last year was great, and I think he earned that. And, but I think it's less about what Colorado would want to do. I don't think Colorado would want to let him go. I don't know. I think that his draw or his purpose in coaching was to coach his son, which is admirable.
Sure.
And he explained why, because he saw guys that didn't know what they were doing coaching his son when he was younger. He's like, I'm not going to sit back and watch this. I'm going to coach him because I know what I'm doing.
Right.
But that time is done for him and Travis Hunter and that whole group that he was with. So what's left for him to do at Colorado? What is he able to do at Colorado, especially with his health?
Does he keep coaching then, or do you think he's going to be like, look, I
could see him just stepping back and
the health
doing
stuff
a little
is,
bit of media stuff here and there, and then calling it good.
Right.
He has like his own show or something he was doing or working on. I think if I was a dad, my son's in the NFL, I want to go watch Shedeur play football. And right now he's got a chance to become the future quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, and that's what I would do. I don't know if I want to stick around and have to deal with the challenges on top of my health while my son's playing NFL games every Sunday. You have to be all in as a college football head coach. I mean, all in. It is not an easy gig, and it takes everything you got. And if you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, that's not fair to the university. It's not fair to the young men that you've recruited there and are committed to. So I could see him stepping away after this season.
Well, certainly it's going to be interesting. I mean, it'll be a bummer for Colorado too, because as soon as they make that headway, like if you're Juju Lewis, do you stay at Colorado?
No,
absolutely not. You're going to go catch $1 million somewhere else,
right? And he'll be able to do that,
right?
And especially once Coach Prime leaves, because then he would have that window open immediately.
Hey, Annapolis, let's take a quick. Let's do an early break, because then you know what's going to happen. As soon as we get back, we'll start rolling them all out. Let's do it. We'll come right back. More to go. Waiting for those college football playoff rankings to show up.
6.3 seconds left to go. What could possibly happen?
Stay with us. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You guys take it from here. Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Oh, look at that. The college football playoff ranking show just started up. Nice little highlight of Tanner Wall with an interception for BYU. They showed a little glimpse of they showed a shot of Kalani Sitake on the sideline, too. Getting some love, showing some teams across the board here. The college football playoff ranking show just 50 minutes late today as we get you started. Waiting for the ending of that basketball game that I don't think that they knew was going to go 15 minutes over, but I think that they just didn't time things out very well. But here we are. We're back to it. The college football playoff ranking show is going to hit us here. And, JJ, you and I rolled out. And by the way, this portion of the show brought to you by Doug Smith, the family of dealerships at American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. So we'll go ahead and say that the college football playoff ranking rollout is brought to you by Doug Smith. Why not? But we're just right now, they're getting to Reese Davis, Booger McFarland, Joey Galloway, and Dusty Dvorak here in studio for at ESPN, where they're finally rolling out the rankings here. JJ, you and I have said, all show long, the rankings are going to be as follows. You already know what the top 10 is going to be. If it changes from Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Georgia for 1, 2, 3, and 4, we'll be shocked. If Texas Tech moves anywhere, Ole Miss, Oregon, and Oklahoma at 5, 6, 7, 8. Notre Dame, Alabama, BYU, the question is going to be at 12. BYU sits at 11 right now, Alabama at 10, Notre Dame at 9. Everybody won across the world of college football there, including Utah, who was 12th last week. But I think that people are wondering if that is going to be the thing that happens with this one. And so I think that if we were to look at the rest of the top 25, I don't know what the difference makes afterward. But you're going to see 20 through 25, you're going to see those rankings weaponized a little bit for arguments, right? And they will matter because it won't matter about those teams necessarily where they're going to end up in all of it, but it's going to matter about being able to say, hey, that's a top 25 team that Miami beat or lost to, or that Utah beat or lost to, or whatever it might be. And so you have – I know that you've explained this to me before.
There you go.
As we have the top 20, the first 5 through.
Oh, look at SMU vault up to 21. Shocker.
Oh, wow.
They went Pittsburgh.
Not ranked. Not ranked to vaulting ahead of. Okay, so Arizona 25, Tulane 24. What was that? What was the. They're showing a bunch of highlights of Tulane right now.
Arizona in the top 25 is good news for BYU.
Yeah, so Arizona at 21. At 22. And then 21 and 20, or excuse me,
Arizona's
20.
At 25.
So Arizona's 25. Tulane, Georgia Tech 23, Pitt is 22, and SMU is 21. Those are two teams who weren't ranked in the top 25 last week. And Georgia Tech, of course, with their loss, went down a full 7 slots. So there you go. Now, the top 20, or the 16 through 20 spots, Arizona State 20, Tennessee 19, Virginia 18. They go up 1 spot. USC to 17, and then that last one I just missed it.
Texas at 16.
Texas at Texas ahead of
moved up 1 spot.
Texas got ahead of USC also, which is interesting.
But
right?
Guess who moved up ahead of Texas?
Well, if Texas is right there, that means that
Michigan
is going to be ahead.
Top 15.
Now you saw Arizona State moved all the way up to 20. That's actually very interesting because. You saw Arizona get into the top 25, but Arizona State got launched all the way up to 20. That's big for Utah, who can now say, hey, they lost to a top 20 team in the college football playoff rankings. Now, number 15 is Michigan at 9-2. They go up 3 spots. We were wondering what that was going to look like. Of course, as you look at this thing roll out, the biggest changes are going to be at 14, 13, 12, and I think that's probably where the biggest changes are going to be. But Michigan, is that a shock to you that Michigan moved up to 15 on this one? It's always nice to be able to have.
Show, yeah.
You knew there was going to be a nice way to be able to two things. Bump up the big game, of course, for this weekend, to have Michigan at 15 playing number 1 Ohio State. But again, Michigan's 9-2, and they've only lost 1 in conference play. And you could talk about whether or not their schedule is, quote unquote, tough enough or not. But I think it's a big deal to be able to have them right there. Next up,
Vanderbilt did not jump ahead of Utah. That's good news.
Vanderbilt at 14. 9-2. That was JJ's guess, was that Vanderbilt might move up. That's why I was like, let's hold off for one more week until they decide what this thing looks like. But Vanderbilt beat a really bad Kentucky team, and Diego Pavia. The thing that's good for the look of Vanderbilt is,
that's
so
it.
there's the decider. Utah does indeed fall to 13. They have taken a step back after what I would assume I think is going to be the committee explaining why Miami is at 12, which is exactly where they are. Miami is number 12 now in the college football playoff ranking. Utah 13, and I think that's going to be the only change. We wondered if that was going to be the place. We wondered if that was going to be the case, and I wondered if this was going to be enough for Utah to be able to stay in there with that win. It's just not enough to win anymore. Especially if you're going to be up against a brand like Miami, obviously that's going to be the one that people look at and say, okay. And now they're showing highlights of Notre Dame losing to Miami,
of course,
just for good measure in the college football playoff rankings, so that we can see this thing go. And then I'm anticipating number 11 to flash up on the screen now, and we're waiting. But Utah 13, Miami 12, and it's official. BYU is back at 11 again. So there are your two local teams. Utah goes down to 13. Miami has slotted themselves between BYU and Utah in that 12th spot. BYU maintains that spot at 11 now. I think the rest is probably elementary, JJ, but any shock there to see that one? I guess it shouldn't be shock at all, but...
No, I felt that Utah was going to get punished for the bad defensive performance and the close call against Kansas State. We mentioned that the metrics liked Utah because they were just absolutely boat racing everybody, and that came to a screeching halt on Saturday. And they had to play from behind, and we all know what happened. And the committee was not impressed by that poor defensive performance, and especially coming at home. And so Utah takes a bit of a hit. And I got to be honest, it effectively, not completely, but effectively ends any shot of Utah's at-large hopes, because they'd have to climb ahead of Miami at this point to get
neither
a
team
spot.
And neither team's going to be playing in a conference championship.
Right. So Utah does not have the game on their schedule, assuming that things don't align, the stars don't align, and they get into that Big 12 championship game. Texas Tech has to lose this weekend. So let's be honest and let's be real. Texas Tech's not losing to West Virginia. So Utah's not going to get in the Big 12 championship game. And now Utah playing Kansas on the road, it's not going to be enough, even if they win like 52-10. Or maybe Miami, I don't know, Miami's got a game that they got to play against Pitt. How does Miami do against Pitt? Maybe that can flip, but ultimately what both Miami and Utah need is chaos in front of them. And we talked about the scenarios and the potential for chaos. Every chaos scenario feels like a stretch. Is Alabama going to lose to Auburn? Probably not. Is Notre Dame going to
lose to Stanford?
Probably not. Is Oregon going to lose to Washington?
That's a possibility.
It's tough on the road, but it's not likely. They're going to be favorites.
It's an 8-3 Washington team in Seattle.
Yeah.
The death throes of teams like that in rivalry games like that, those things matter, and where they're being played matter.
Okay, so let's say
Alabama's 10.
That.
Here's the official. I'll roll out these rankings. You tell me. You give me these scenarios. Alabama's 10 again. Notre Dame's 9 again. Oklahoma's 8 again. We don't anticipate any changes the rest of the way because nothing happened over the weekend.
So let's just say
hold on a minute. Hold the phone.
Yeah,
as soon as I say that, Ole Miss drops a slot from 6 to 7 inexplicably. They had a bye, right?
Yeah, they didn't play.
Oh, well.
The Lane Kiffin news, I think, is something. That's a story.
You know what? That's interesting. because Oregon moves into that spot
Oregon
at
is
6.
up to 6. You know what that means for Texas Tech?
So Texas Tech will probably stay at that number 5
Yep.
spot.
Which is exactly where they want to be.
So do you think that Ole Miss going down one spot is just based off of the
Yes.
weirdness that's surrounding the
No,
Ole
there's
Miss
no other
program?
reason for that.
Wow. Okay.
Were they that impressed with Oregon's performance
think
against
so.
USC?
No.
So anyway, back to my point real quick before we got to go. If just one of these things happens, let's say Oregon gets upset at Washington
Yeah.
and they drop back. Guess who the first team in would be? It would be Miami, not Utah. That's why it's going to be so hard for Utah to break through here. And so the odds just aren't good. A team like Michigan has a better chance at 15 than Utah does at 12 or 13 because they have a shot at Ohio State, and that could change everything for them.
Well, so nothing has changed so far. Texas Tech 5, Georgia 4.
Top 5 the same.
Texas A&M 3, Indiana 2, and then the Ohio State is number 1. All right, there you go. There's your playoff rankings. We'll be able to chop it up a lot more tomorrow, of course, on a Wednesday edition of the program. All day long, you'll be able to. By the way, BYU and Utah still the first and second teams out because Miami is now slotted in as the highest-ranked ACC team, despite the fact that they won't be in the college football playoff, or despite the fact they won't be in their conference championship game. They are right now the 12th seed in all of this. Aren't you excited about it? I mean, this is great. Isn't college football fun? All right, we'll take the break here for JJ, for Alex Napolis. We'll be right back around the corner with more. Stay here, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.